Hello, welcome everyone back to the Calvin Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're back with another banger PulseChain video giving us the latest and greatest of crypto news. This video will be rather on the shorter side because I'm cooking a lot of things in the background. So be sure to tune into my next videos and I appreciate you guys for all the support. We're going to get to the highlighted comments in a second. But first, let's look at where are we in terms of PulseChain and on the macro side of things. Where's Bitcoin? Where's the global liquidity index? How are we doing in terms of ratio? First of all, a big shout out to the website creator behind this. I believe his name is Hexagita. He created this website, pulsecharts.com. It looks really, really good. It kind of reminds me of Minecraft's font here. And yeah, so in the past 7 days, yes, we've been on the retracement side of things, which is absolutely fine. We've seen this again in the macro side of things. If you're ever in doubt, zoom out. Okay, it's not PulseChain's fault. Do remember that we are not a hedge of Ethereum. We are an amplified effect of whatever Ethereum does, which, you know what, to give credits to, Ethereum is doing quite okay. Because look at this. Everything is almost on the red side except the ETH BTC ratio on the green side. If we look at where Bitcoin versus Ethereum, actually today it did start where Bitcoin was basically up 0.16%. Ethereum was up a couple percent. So we're kind of seeing that shift of liquidity or influx of money going towards Ethereum at a higher rate, which is really, really good, which again is to be expected after the 365-day mark post Bitcoin having event. And again, this is really great for altcoins because remember, we need Ethereum to go up. Okay, there's no other way. We're not here to replace Ethereum. We are here to leverage Ethereum. At the end of the day, you can even see that in Richard Hart's tweets. He actually does care a lot about Ethereum. And we're going to get to Ethereum side of news in terms of good news, because of course, a lot of people are still not as confident in Ethereum, obviously because they're looking at the price charts. And again, that's kind of the retail investor mindset where they're just looking at the price chart like this, and they're just waiting. Why is the price not going up? Oh, it must be a crappy project to hold. Okay, they want to buy something that's already green. That's what you should not do. Okay, you should just follow the information rather than following the charts. Okay, and actually, speaking of charts, this is the Ethereum USD chart on the daily candle. Just doing some quick analysis, kind of on the midterm or perhaps even short term, you can see that we have been bouncing off of those two Fibonacci levels when I do the Fibonacci retracement. Which is quite normal, especially that we're seeing a retracement on the fear and greed. We're seeing a retracement on Bitcoin in general. Now, from using the volume profile, you can kind of see this huge dead zone in terms of volume, where I really expect the next time we retest this Fibonacci level, which is around a price of 2.8 thousand, if we surpass that, I do expect a price magnet that takes us all the way up to around the 3.3 to 3.5 K Ethereum, which is really, really nice. The last time we were there was back in January of this year. I also want to say a big shout out to the YouTube members who are choosing to support my small channel, and to the highlighted comments here from our friend Dirty Crypto. It says, great content, Khaled. I'm paying attention to who are the real ones. Well, big shout out to you. Thank you for your comment. And then here, a comment from Robert says, very interesting content. Thank you as always. Okay, and finally, but not least, from Cat Roar says, nice call. Been forever since anyone posted a good one like this early. Thanks again. And this is what I said. I said, I look and wait for gems, quality over quantity. And speaking of that, looking at the chart for 4 and 4. So yeah, since I made a video, and I don't really like to kind of talk about the post video pumping because I don't want to be the reason a token pumps. I just want to put a spotlight to an already bullish project. Yeah, since the last video when I talked about 4 and 4, where we were at a correction, and again we were in the very cheap territory where it was above minus 80% correction. I think it was around 67%, 66K market cap, somewhere there. So it was minus 82%, which is really, really great for an entry in general because it's past that hype phase. We went ahead to do a further, so from the 66K market cap right there, we went ahead to do around, I think, a 15x to all-time high. Yeah, 15.8x to all-time high. We actually touched, guys, if you click on the price chart, we actually touched Um, 1 cent. Yeah, like we exceeded PDAI's price, which is crazy. And yeah, if you guys didn't know what this token does, it basically reflects four tokens. Big shout out to the creators behind this. They have delivered. I love the logo. I love the, the Chinese or Japanese, apologies, I'm not sure. And then yeah, it basically just reflects the four tokens, which is PDAI, Teddy Bear, T-bill, Treasury bill, and Fed. Okay, really, really cool. And also it does a self-burning, which is something that I really, really like. Well, self-burn and burns T-bill as well. And just in general, I'm looking forward to my next project reviews. Again, I don't really like to rush any of them. I'm a quality over quantity guy. So I'm going to keep vetting projects. I'm going to wait until the time is right, i.e., is it also a cheap time to talk about that project? Okay, I'm not here going to make a video about a project at all-time highs. No, it's not even worth it. There's 100 of other projects that are, again, cheap that not a lot of people are talking about, and that's exactly what gets me excited when I see that undervalue of a bullish project. So, anyways, we're gonna move on. And also looking at the ETH BTC ratio, you can kind of tell that we have at least confirmed the bottom. We've gone through the worst part. So again, if you did not capitulate, a big shout out to you. 90% of people fail that. What do? They literally go for the shiny new object syndrome where they are selling their assets on a loss, realizing losses just so that they can make back the losses. And I promise I'm going to buy back my position. But let me tell you, that is usually a start of a loop where they'll keep saying that again and again and again. And they're going to end up selling all their long term holds and being majority allocated to high risk projects. That's exactly what you should not do. Okay, so please be careful about that. And next up, looking at the Bitcoin versus M2 money supply. This is on the 75 day offset. You can see that it's been perfect. Some people go with 115, some people go with 100 day offset. I like to keep it at 75 because I like to catch the trend reversals very, very quick. And I understand there's going to be a lot of noise, but you can see that it's been very correlated. And right now, the M2 money supply on the daily candle has been still rapidly increasing, paving the way for Bitcoin. And right now, we have a trajectory of 138 Bitcoin. And let me tell you, I'm actually very, very confident that we're going to reach that point. Are we going to keep seeing the M2 money increasing and increasing until it reaches around the 150, 160, perhaps 200? The fact that I know that quantitative easing is inevitable, they're going to soon print their way out of trouble and turn on the money printer, which, remember, this is really good. Yes, it does unfortunately reduce or weaken the US dollar index, but then that's just going to encourage people to go from risk off assets to risk on assets, which, guess what? That's exactly what crypto is. It's the instrument that allows people to work smart and not hard, guys. It's the leverage of the whole stock market, the S&P 500. And then again, leverage of Bitcoin is is Ethereum. Leverage of Ethereum is again PulseChain, the best place to be to make the most out of this bull run. I also want to show you guys this fun fact that not a lot of people know, that Bitcoin only had 3 red yearly candles since its launch in 2009. Yes, that is a fact. Okay, because of course, guys, Bitcoin kind of is the plan to accumulate in the bear markets, and it's becoming this digital savings account, and a lot of people already call it the store of value, right? And a quick exercise to prove that this is a fact. We're going to quickly go to see Bitcoin here. This is on a weekly candle. First of all, I just want to show you guys, this is the weekly moving average. This is the 50 weekly moving average, the green line, and the red line is the 200 weekly moving average. Usually the red line is kind of focused on during bear markets to indicate whether it is undervalued or overvalued, and 50 weekly moving candles is just an indicator that we are still in one mode. Anywhere the price is above that line, we are in bull run mode. Yes, we've gotten very, very close to falling under that, but guess what? That just means that Bitcoin is at cheap value. And every single time it went close to that 50 weekly moving average, it was a great time to trade. Now, of course, I don't really do any swing trading. I'm more of a investor rather than a trader, but these are very good kind of little metrics to keep in mind, because we need to understand when is the euphoric uh, phases, and obviously the opposite, when is it great to move your fiat into more risk on assets if you are planning to do a trade here and there. And do you remember I did mention this in the previous video, which is the pi cycle, the cycle top indicator. Keep that in mind. It has been accurate to calling the top on Bitcoin with days of accuracy. And you can see here that in the previous bull run and you can see here in the previous bull run where it flipped for just a few days, and that was exactly at the top of Bitcoin. So that is a perfect indicator to keep in mind. Okay, this would have a heavier weighting factor compared to all your other indicators because this only flips for a few days. What are the chances it does a false positive? The last time again it flipped was within for a few days. This is again where you can see the orange line, which is the 111 daily moving average, crossing over the long line, which is the 350-day moving average. This is, by the way, where they get the pi name, because if you divide 111 by 350, you will get, or sorry, if you divide 350 by 111, it would be roughly around the pi 3.14, or I think it's technically 3.15. And yeah, you can see here in the previous bull run, two great waves. It called the top on those two. So guys, this is a great indicator. If you didn't know about this, give this video a like, comment down below, join the Telegram. I can probably make a separate technical analysis and metrics video, but this is just a great reminder for you guys into what to keep an eye on. Just looking at other indicators as well, the altcoin season index. Again, don't expect too much from the altcoins. We are still waiting on Ethereum to pick up the ETH-BTC ratio. And a quick fun fact about Bitcoin, guys. And again, this brings me another kind of price magnet that I like to see. We've showed you guys already one for Ethereum, but looking at the Bitcoin exchange liquidation maps, again, I don't really recommend anyone to use liquidations because everything is public. Okay, they can literally hunt you down, and we've seen that in the story that I covered in the previous video, where a whale was liquidated. Was it $100 million got liquidated, guys? They can actually hunt you down. It's all public. They can see where's your liquidation level, your stop loss, and they can wick it down for a split second just to trigger it, and then the price is back to normal. Please be careful. Have an investor mindset. Don't borrow other people's money. Okay? Stick to spot trading, bro, where time is not a factor. Happy days. You can sleep at night. You own those shares. Okay? Just hear it from me. Delay your gratification. Trust me, unless you really know what you're doing. By the way, hear it from me. I used to do CFD trading, and it requires mental toughness. Okay? Let me just say that. Mental toughness. And yeah. Anyways, this is the Bitcoin liquidations map. I put on the perpetual 30-day expiry, and you can see here that if Bitcoin reaches around the $117,000 mark, it would liquidate 12 billion worth of dollars, as opposed to if Bitcoin went all the way down to $93,000, it would only liquidate 500 million. So you tell me where the price magnet is, where more money can be made. Again, technically more money can be lost, but it's liquidated. You know what I mean? Yeah, that is a price magnet to 115,000. I'm super excited right now. If you didn't know, I believe Bitcoin is around the 105K mark. Ethereum is doing slightly well. You can see it's only down 2.3% as opposed to Bitcoin 3.17%. And yes, we did see this, that the performance is much worse on PulseChain side. Do remember, because it's amplified uh, numbers. We are very volatile, especially the fact that PulseChain has low liquidity than ever before, which is going to be good for us. Trust me, when the pump comes, it's going to be really good for us, because liquidity is a weight factor. It has a double-edged sword. If you watched my course, link in the description, you'll know all about that. So if you are new, I'll just quickly remind that this course, it'll be in the description. If you're new to crypto, this is a great place to start to cover everything theoretically, the difference between the different liquidity pools and the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Yes, this could be trivial to some. And again, I also urge, this is by the way for everyone, millionaires, especially if you have anything over $1,000 in value in crypto assets, you need to know about operational security, the principles behind it, the do's and don'ts. Okay, how can you actually protect your wallet? What does it mean to even protect your wallet? Okay, what are the different attack vectors? How you can mitigate against them? How you can read a solidity contract? You know, an offline signature attack. What does that even mean? But aside from that, we're going to go to one of the highlighted tweets here from Moon King Beards. Says, why PulseChain is built to moon. MicroStrategy takes loans to acquire Bitcoin, pumps Bitcoin, its stock moons. Sharplink Gaming is taking out loans to acquire Ethereum, its stock moons. GameStop takes out loans to acquire Ethereum, its stock moons. Bit Digital takes out loans to acquire Ethereum, its stock moons. PulseChain is the number two holder on Ethereum. No loans, no risk, no potential liquidations. It hasn't mooned. Be ahead of everyone else. This is a perfectly summary tweet that explains follow the information, follow the smart money. Okay. And speaking of smart money, there's a big whale who just bridged in to PulseChain. This is 2 hours ago. 200,000 worth of wrapped Ethereum, and I did check his or her portfolio using kind of my two favorite portfolio trackers. Big shout out to Pulsefolio, and a big shout out to friend Cabal. I just like to use both of them for different reasons. Really, I like the compactness here, and I also like Pulsefolio because it has the pie chart. You know, visualizer basically, and sometimes it picks up on a few tokens here and there. But yeah, looking into what this whale is holding, their biggest holding is 50 million PNI after wrapped Ethereum, which technically I'm not going to count it as, well, obviously I'm going to count it, but it's like buying power. It's money waiting to be allocated somewhere, right? They're holding EWBTC, they're holding Fed 50 million, one to one to PDAI. What do they know? But I don't know. 1-to-1 PDAI, 1-to-1 Fed. And then here, 1 million hex, beautiful. And then holding buying power here, Pulse, and then holding 100 million of PulseX. On a modest side, honestly, when you think about it, but also holding INC, one of my favorites, guys. Okay, the liquid gold for a lot of reasons. I'm gonna make a whole video about it. Now, moving on into other Ethereum news that are very, very bullish here. It says BlackRock is pushing the SEC to approve the Ethereum staking ETF within 2 weeks. If true, Ethereum will fly to $10,000. Again, this is really, really good news. Again, making it more attractive to make yield to those institutional investors. Lovely, jovely. And now, in other non-bullish news about Ethereum, which is the latest, Pectra upgrade, the Ethereum improvement proposal 7702 says it was meant to simplify uh, wallet use in Pectra upgrade, which is now being hijacked by bots. Wintermute found 80+% of delegations are feeding one malicious script. One victim already lost 150K to a phishing attack. Crazy. Is the UX worth the security risk? Because I'm also curious, are the PulseChain devs working on rolling the upgrade to our chain as well? But turns out Richard Hart and the devs were right to not be so eager to allow the Ethereum upgrades for PulseChain. Ethereum's Pectra upgrade enables scammers, okay? And then again the EIP 7702, an account abstraction upgrade, improved the functionality of smart contract wallets. Unfortunately, crypto trading firm Wintermute found that over 80% of the EIP was used by a malicious script named Crime Enjoyer, created it to phish and scam users. So this is not the best of news for Ethereum because it can, shake the sentiments towards it. And again, I think whenever that happens, it's just going to impede what's already inevitable, which is a $10,000 Ethereum. Okay, and I'm so excited about it. Again, you guys should understand it, that you are at the perfect time of this bull run. Okay, we just broke global liquidity all-time high a month and a half ago, guys. The show is just getting started. Okay, altcoins. This is where you make the most amount of money. That happens 1 out of 4 years. And by the way, I also forgot to show you guys the quick exercise to prove that this is true, that Bitcoin only had three red yearly monthly candles or yearly candles. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to click on 12M, which is 12 months. I'm going to change this back to the candles. I'm going to click reset, and you guys can see. It only shows two as well. Two red yearly candles. That means Bitcoin goes up 3 out of 4 year cycles. Because again, the 4 year cycle, where do we get that from? We look out, we zoom out, and we see what is Bitcoin a leverage of? S&P 500. What is the S&P 500 a leverage of? The global liquidity, which includes the M1, the M2, which includes the economies, the manufacturing industry, which includes households, banks, shadow banks, central banks, guys. Okay, includes all of that, the balance sheets, etc. And then you can trace that back all the way to the debt cycle and slash the business cycle, and you can kind of see it's a sine wave where it comes out to be a 4 year cycle, coincidentally times nicely with Bitcoin having to halving, which also is around an average of 4 years. So I really, really do like this, and I do believe we are in the top territory for Bitcoin dominance. It doesn't mean that the price won't carry on going high. It just means that other tokens will gain more dominance. With the rate of growth will surpass Bitcoin's rate of growth, because again, Bitcoin does apply the concept of diminishing returns from bull run to bull run. We'll expect less and less returns just due to the fact that it's already mainstream. And also, quick fun fact: like 7% of the population, global population, is in crypto. Yes, that also means that there's a lot of room for adoption, right? But now, when you look at what's the global population who's in the stock market, is going to be around 15, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20% of the world is in stock market, but I'm pretty sure it's around 15, that 15% mark. So actually, uh, when you think of crypto, a realistic percentage that it could reach is not like a third of the world or half of the world. It's more like catching up to the stock market, which is around 15%. So that would be a kind of a 2x. What I'm trying to say is that Bitcoin has really already hit mainstream. It's going to start plateauing. When you look up the S curve of adoption, you can kind of see that Bitcoin is at that plateau, the top of the S curve, where the rate of growth is kind of slowing down. Quick reminder about PDAI. The belief in PDAI isn't casual, it's outsized conviction. No admin key, can't be frozen, immutable, can't be changed. On PulseChain, regulatory clarity. That's not just decentralization, that's allodial grade sovereignty. I love it, I love it, I love it. I swear I don't know how I have not followed Die on PulseChain. Big shout out to him. And another big shout out to Hexologist Heart giving us some nice TA here about PDAI. Talking about the yellow line is the point of control, the volume. Again, he's using volume profiles, beautiful TA tool, which happens to be exactly where I said we would come back to pick liquidity up before we go back up. Once PDAI gets to the 0.003 area, there'll be another big green candle that takes us to 0.009, so just under a cent. Maybe we can up past a penny, but then retracing back to maybe 0.06. Someone bookmark this for the culture. TA is like the weather. I am the weather man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'll also bookmark it. Big shout out to you, sir. I just also wanted to show you guys this chart here, and a big shout out to Somi, because I believe he's the one who created this chart. And this again teaches you how charts move. This is the early days of Shiba Inu, guys. And let me tell you, this is exactly why I tell people have an investor mindset. Delay your gratifications. The simplest way to do that is by believing in what you hold, so that then you can have that conviction to really hold long term. From its launch, right, the initial hype phase, it did a minus 99% correction. That's a very, very tough one, guys. You see a chart that it retraced minus 99? Yeah, that's not a retracement. That's called a reversal, bruh. You know what I mean? But then guess what happened? A 700x. Now imagine the people said, oh, It's too late. And even though it did a correction of minus 96, maybe a lot of people are saying, nah, it's too late. Let me sell now. We're going to move on to the next shiny new object. I don't believe in this enough. I'm just trying to trade. Oh, I'll be happy with a 2x, right? Minus 96% correction. Guess what happened after that? 3.1k x, guys. Not a 700x, not a 1000x. 3150x after the second correction of minus 96%. Do you know who's the biggest winner? The person who just buys those corrections and continues to believe. Who just continues to believe. Welcome to crypto, guys. Who said it's going to be an easy ride? Who said? But the formula is easy. It is up to you. You have the mental capacity to delay gratification. You have the mental capacity to control your emotions. So yeah, moving on to the last piece of news that I wanted to talk about, which is XRP. They have sold 158 million worth of their own tokens, and I've mentioned this months and months ago, where I said XRP, guys. If you didn't know, you have to really do a lot of research, because I've spoken to people who are XRP holders and they didn't know this, right? And a simple giveaway to this, if you go to CoinMarketCap, right, and you see their total supply, and you compare that to the fully diluted value compared to the market cap, you can see why is the fully diluted value double the current market cap. That means half of that supply, which is around 50 billion XRP, is locked up somewhere. Okay, and again, if you dig deeper, it is public. I'm not trying to say like they're hiding it. It's public, obviously, that they have these unlocks scheduled, and I'm not sure if it's monthly unlocks or here and there. And yes, majority of the times they do relock it in escrow accounts. But let me tell you, it doesn't mean that they don't sell. I believe, if I remember, looking at the stats of 2024, they sold around 20% of their unlocks, guys, which still ends up to be this much, 158 million. They send that to centralized exchanges. We don't know what happens. You know what I mean? They could be doing under the table trades, etc. So, do you really want to be in a chain that's selling on top of your heads? Same thing can be said about Ethereum. There's Ethereum Foundation selling on top of your heads. Okay? Same thing with Solana. They have venture capitalists, guys. But PulseChain doesn't. PulseChain doesn't have a venture capitalist. PulseChain doesn't have a foundation. PulseChain OA never sold. We're going to end the video on that note. It's so easy for me to sleep at night, guys. I'm literally gonna have such a good sleep after uploading this video. It's so easy for me to have good sleep, knowing that 95% of my portfolio is allocated in PulseChain. I'm gonna sleep so good at night. You know what I mean? For this reason, guys, this is one of the reasons. Richard Ha is one of the greatest founders. And guess what? Like, he's not because he's creating these instruments that can make people money. Like, we already covered quotes where he said he wants to make 1 million millionaires. He actually cares about people, guys. He and again, it's through us. He helped raise 27 million for the Sense Foundation. That helps increase the average human lifespan. Like, he actually cares about people. If I want to see a better world around us, let me start by being the change that I want to see. This is why it's honestly been a pleasure making these videos, because you guys are a great community, and at the same time, I love to represent PulseChain. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna end the video there. Again, I like to be optimistically realistic, and I'm so excited for my future videos. I'm so excited for the next few months. It does seem like, because usually summers, looking at kind of studying about it, it's a notorious period for the stock market and in general crypto to be consolidating, going sideways. But it does seem like with the M2 money supply, and it does seem like in the previous month how it went from sell in May, the saying as well, sell in May and walk away, to literally buy in May and walk away. Are we about to see a pumping in the summer, guys? And I'm very inclined to believe so because of the M2 rapid increase, laying out the path for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum goes up. If Ethereum goes up, PulseChain goes up. It's really, really great. Total crypto markup is still at 3.2 trillion, guys. I'm expecting this to go around 7 to 10 trillion. That's going to be my, top signal range. It will have a lower weighting because it can reach to 12 trillion. But anything above 7 trillion, that's where I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, we've finally kind of peaked this cycle. Anything more than that, we should expect it in the next cycle. But guys, I'm going to end the video there. If you do want to support me, you can consider checking out the 2 courses in the description, the Complete Crypto and DeFi Security Guide. And if you're new to crypto, really, really urge to cover the Learn Crypto, the Ultimate Guide. By the way, they're both an hour and a half worth of video content, a 6-part series on each. And yeah, I'm going to end the video there. And do remember, big shout out to the man above, trust in the process, trust in God. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.